Okay, we're in. Well, I want to go ahead and greet you with a few greetings that we have been greeted with before. And we know just borrowing stuff, you know what I mean? So, to begin, you know, hello, my lovely ladies and beautiful gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of POSA, all right? Pages, Sages of the Ages. And this special edition of Don't Give a Fuck Radio, okay? And we are dedicating this out here to each and every one of us, okay? One of you, one of we, or however one receives that. Or if we don't receive it, that's fine too. It's still going out to you, all right? Still going out to you. Why is that? Why is that? Because we are all the salt of the earth, okay? And it doesn't necessarily matter if we are uh, pink salt, we have iodine in it, we have even, I just heard of some other type of salt that was like, dang, where is it from? I want to say, I don't know if it was Colombia or another country that was like really kind of rare and everything, you know, but of course, definitely for the black salt and everything, you know what I'm saying, for the protection and most things that are black, so in a general sense, do have that extra in it, you know, they do have that extra in it, but we are all the salt of the earth and everything. And what I mean by salt of the earth is that, give me 1 second, I am rolling right here. We are, yeah, a lot of us are fixed in our positions and everything. We're meaning like frame of thought, mind, and you know we're on our different journeys. You know, and at the same time, even with that right there, are protecting. We are protecting that energy, so we can make it, not just make it, but make it happen. That's what that's what the goal is when we step out or step into this avatar every single time we step out. Even sometimes where we're in it, walking, or at work, what have you not, we leave it. We leave the shell right there and go and do what we do. You know what I mean? But wow, I've never seen a street called Welcome Street. That's fucking cool. Welcome. That's what I was like saying. That was the intro and everything. Welcome, okay? And so this salt and everything basically is going to come from 4 of our fixed. Let me make sure I can get out of here. I don't know if I can. Doesn't look like it. 4 of our fixed planetaries. All right. The planetaries are going to start off there with, well, believe it or not, Scorpio. Start down here in the water and everything. You know, it's a fixed type of water. You know, not really, you know, I'm not going to say you can't, you know, it's not malleable or won't move or anything like that, you know, but for the most part, it's kind of like fixed still in positions and so forth. It's not necessarily rolling like rivers and stuff like that in and out, you know, but in a general sense, you know, fixed state of water, all right? And then we have that of Aquarius, which is our year we're in right now, you know, this last part of the wheel here, the last part of the wheel that's uprooting all kinds of everything. At the same time, it is fixed on doing that also. It is fixed on turning some things around, letting go, uh, or die. You know what I'm saying? or die or die. And that die does not necessarily mean like totally, dead and everything. You actually just be fit. You just make another mold, which is called a die. Okay, make another mold, or mode, however you might want to say it. You know what I'm saying? And so Scorpio, and what I mean, Scorpio and everything hits us in the fall season. All right. And so that's when I personally think that's when we all fail, when we all fail and everything from being who we are in the angelic realms. And as they say, as we say, Ephesians 6:12 said we wrestle not against uh, flesh and blood, but against what principalities, thrones, dominions, and powers and virtues that are in higher places or even lower places, and even within. Okay, I think they should have put that inside of there also. And these are our found. These we have our what are called the archangels. We might even look at the rainbow as being like an arc, and which is really a portals. Those are really serious portals and shit. You know what I'm saying? Serious portals, as we know, even double rainbow and all of that. You know what I'm saying? Those are serious portals. Okay, and this is where we also, like I said, I think we fell right there, and this is where the fallen angels, okay, fall, like I was talking about with Scorpio, okay, comes in, and even the scorpionic type of hey, death. That's death right there. It's telling us right there. It's death. Okay, so with that right there, this is like our foundations and stuff right there. We're actually here right now with Aquarius to bring that back around and re-examine every single thing. Does not have to be thrown out, but there are many things that has to be thrown out, and I think we should just cast a new die on a lot of the things, the ideas and what have you not. But at the same time, there might be a lot of structure here that is, essential, even that of our elders and everything. Even the negative portions of people that we have had inside of our life that we want to say, that wasn't really for us or something like that. What I do and everything, like everybody that I've met around this way right now, I try to extract this. I extract both, good and bad, and learn from them both, and at the same time utilize them even both. Why? Because energy is never wasted, and it's just the way we go ahead and utilize it, and that it's actually going to matter. And matter is what keeps the iron hot. So these are some of the reasons why I think some things are going to be destroyed because it is simply time. Like pretty much like everything we buy right now. It has, whether it has a shelf life inside the refrigerator, or it's built faulty to go ahead and then keep retail going up and everything. Keep retail going and so forth. These stores and so forth, open sesame, closed, cerrado. You know what I mean? So those things right there, and right now. So this is the revelation of Genesis. This is the revelation of Genesis. Genesis is a revelation. So we're starting fresh again, and that's what Uranus is doing with us right there. That's what Uranus is doing with us. And that's what your anus is doing. So if we're not moving our ass to do something like that, then uh, it's going to be pretty drastic for us. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah. So that's the S, salt, SA. Sa, even feminine right there with the sa. Okay, and then the L is right now with Leo. We're getting ready to go into Leo. The sun and everything. All right, summer. And perfect timing as we are in right now, as everybody been describing these really the retrogrades coming up is what really got me and everything. Retrogrades, of what do we have here? We got Mercury, Saturn, Chiron, and Uranus. No, I'm sorry. We have Saturn, Neptune, Mercury, and Chiron. And Chiron and everything, you know what I'm saying? And so for those squares right there, those are fixed in a general sense. The squares really fixed, and we do build off of squares, This is what this era right now in time, architecture, the structure and everything is basically off of squares. Okay? Basically off of squares. And then we still go back here to go ahead and finish up where we start at with all of this, and that's Taurus. That's Taurus. And how do we build up, and what do we do with that and everything? It is actually build up and everything. And so when I was looking at Saturn itself, I was doing some little research, Saturn itself, when Taurus is inside of Saturn, there is growth and everything. But Saturn is, see what's cool and everything right now when we see these squares, these squares that we're getting ready to get hit with, these retrogrades, we see Saturn is there, even with Chiron, right? Now on the other side of Chiron is Uranus, right? Which is where Aquarius is actually the guardian of and everything. No, Uranus is actually guardian of this house of the Aquarius. Okay? So, but what Chiron does, Chiron is mutable. Okay? He's not fixed. He goes back and forth and everything between that of Jupiter, which is right now also the time of Cancer, Jupiter. And we're going to go ahead and have a lot of, like I say, changes coming in with the thought process because of the wisdom that Jupiter is actually bringing us right now. And it's preparing us to doing this right now during the summertime because of the fall that's coming back up again. Which is going to be Scorpio time again. And we're gonna go through a different developmental phase. Okay, first inside out. Even when you go ahead and recant the scriptures there out of King James, when they were building the temple, they started from the inside out first. Okay, it started from the center, which is actually Leo, in the sense of light. With all the people I've met right now, it's been kind of cool. It's kind of cool because now it wasn't until even Miss Linda, it wasn't until right now that I got to actually see workings. People are moving, and now we all sway off course. We all sway off course a little bit in life, and and perceptions and even agendas. We swing out court and everything, of course. And so this is why things do take even longer, because a lot of times we haven't even mastered ourselves in or with the things we have developed already. And sometimes we don't necessarily need to master it either. It's actually grab what you know and go. But for a lot of fixed, okay, a lot of fixed, go back over again, salt to the earth. And continue with that verse, it says the salt of the earth. We are the salt of the earth. But if we lose our flavor, then what is it worth, right? So we got to think about that. So the fixed signs and everything again are what? A Taurus, starting in springtime, right? Aquarius, no, spring, Leo coming after that, right? Then we have Scorpio, okay, going to the water, fixed water. You got the fixed sun up there, all right? And then we have winter of Aquarius, which is fixed again, because that time of year comes to everyone. It just depends again on where you're at on the equator, whether or not your places, your land is actually going to freeze over, and you really have to prepare for winters and stuff like that. Even here in the division here of the United States, where the divided states, they are really divided. Okay, okay. United is a mutable luge, which is luge means like a lie. That's a lie. Okay, du bist ein Lüge. They're lying about that. Yeah. So, anyways, so with these stars, these right here, and that's the reason why I had, like I said, within my personal life and then work environments and what have you not, a lot of these personalities are fixed, even to be stubbornness, okay? Okay, there could be a suborn, okay? Subborn is, a sub for one. It's not on top, it's underneath. And born is borne. So it's a subborn. It's not even really conscious, okay? Conscious being right now, again, in this time of Cancer, where the subconscious will be back in Pisces, okay? And then shooting it, see, this is, and I go through this thought form many times, and I just was able to finally put it into words because of the things that I've had gone through right now. And that being for the ascension phase, which is my North Node, which would be that Sagittarius. So even though we are here so this is the different orbits that everyone has to go ahead and look at within themselves to know where we're at, and even what we're lacking, like the different salts. We lack 3 salts no matter what. We lack 3 salts. How you doing, man? All right. Yeah, we lack 3 salts no matter what. So when we go to look at that right there, we have the salts of the world, but if we're already lacking 3, then where are those salts going to come from? And we first of all have to know that. Okay? Now that's definitely to the body first, foremost, because it's supposed to be self-knowledgeable, to know thyself. Okay? Now, if we don't necessarily, no, I'm not going to say if we don't. First of all, that is a must to go ahead and get those 3 salts, to go ahead just for the body to be healthy and ward off or connect to the different higher realms, okay? And then if not, then on top of that, then that's where you build up your team at. Because those things, the people that are, say for instance, and that'll be your four corners even. You yourself is going to be that salt, that one. So the three people that you really have inside of your life, and the three is really the triangle, in order to go ahead and build, okay? And build off of what? Build off of these, even the retrogrades, and we have 4 of them right now. Like I said, even these retrograde time period that we're in right now. And I'm gathering all this, so I kid you not, from everyone I just watched today. Everyone I just watched today, the one that had got me, and even for myself, for going in that thought form, is, but it's still needed. And the thing of it is to do, when we do these things, we learn these things, we take the steps out and say these things, the other person has to go ahead and be mature enough to say no blank, say no blame. Because if we all know that we're on this journey right here together, and even lastly, Jehadina, when she came in, I only saw a little bit of hers and everything, but I'll go back and finish watching. I saw a little bit of hers and what she stated, and this is, everybody has this know-how, this knowledge and know-how. And what know-how is that? That is to come into a workplace and see, or in a family, and see what is wrong and be the fixer, fill it in. And it's not the fixer as to actually do the work, but to go ahead and diagnose the plausible reasons for not having a 6 month lean, running, no waste, family, company, or friendships. Okay? And so all of those things right there are really, really important for those who really give a fuck. Okay? And then remember, this is supposed to be Don't Give a Fuck Radio. All right? So, but, and it's all about perspective. It's all about perspective. So, and what really got me there too, with the stubbornness and everything, with these, like here, I go back over here, Taurus, Aquarius, Leo, Scorpio. Like I had shared with you earlier, some time ago, the most of my actual run-ins have been with Taurus, and it's not been so. There's have, in a general sense, been on a monetary tip, whether it be looking like, Brother Eugene, he always loved to look like the part, what I'm saying, but didn't have any substance and everything. The younger brother, he loved to go ahead and have a gang, like say all these cars right here. And he had all these cars on the street, straight up, just like this. Okay? But not one of them was something that, that he should have kept. Or when he did find something to keep, he didn't keep it. So therefore, they end up spending money like, so it's just different formats, different frames of mind and everything, in which people have we fostered, and it was innate too. They didn't even have to, a lot of people don't have to learn this and everything. But at the same time, a lot of the things are learned from our parents, or if they're not our parents, like in my case, it wasn't my parent, I was still inside the house and everything. And so therefore you get to learn that whatever environments that you're in, you get to learn that from the individuals there, the different personalities and so forth. And so, I mean, it's something to be grateful for, hey, to learn how they were thinking, the subconscious part of him, the subconscious part of me, mama. Even all the brothers and sisters or what have you not, or, if you're going up with your cousins or what have you not, or out on the street, you're still getting, you just got a street family. So it's something to take note on, because you might have too much salt, and it might be too close. The placements might be too close and so forth. As far as the planetaries might be too close to where you do have uh, conjunction malfunctions, okay, or functioning malfunctions, or malfunctions that just function with no direction. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, Vern? So yeah, that's it. So that's it on that fixed dragon. Fixed sign. And so being the salt of the earth like that, you know, uh, and the people that I'm running to right now, like I said here, even starting out with all of my lovely ladies and pretty gentlemen, like she, she's cool. Especially, everybody has their different uh, fortes, different accents, different uh, melodies, even different melodies, you know, different songs in which everyone should go ahead and appreciate. Uh, Even again, I kid you not, even the negative, because what it is that right there is that when you embrace that negative, it smothers it. It doesn't necessarily mean embrace the person, but embrace what was dished out. Why? Because you suck it in, and then it becomes you, and you can utilize it how you want to utilize it. All right, you can really transform that shit and to make some beautiful flowers and everything, fertilizer. All right, and so with Chiron, like I said, Chiron being between Saturn, which is really cold and strict. Chiron itself is cold. You know and Uranus. All right, and Uranus has 13 rings. Okay, so all of those things right there, and him interpolating between the rings also too, and he's not fixed. He's not fixed, or she's not fixed. You know, however one wants to take it, and that's actually both at all times. At least that's the way I look at it. I take it. I do it. And so, wow, yeah. Anyway, sit up here and got a little seat and everything. How you doing? All right. I take a little load off my feet here. Slept wrong a little bit, so his neck over here is messing with me a little bit. But we're doing okay. We're doing all right. And I got to get back up and try to sing today. Oh my goodness, it was pretty bad. It's pretty bad. So, going on with some of the things that I had learned today, even looking at Chiron, matter of fact, Chiron, as we're talking about, Chiron's channel, and coming from my, going from, I got to, because she's just, Miss Linda, okay, Miss Linda, you know, and in the lanes and veins of thought, and vain could be vain, okay? Vain could be vanity. like Vanna White, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Bananium, the actual periodical chart, Vanna White. And listening to the the bully, the bully, the bully, 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 Sam and everything. You got bully, bully, and it was the wording and how one can come off of the cards and so forth, and put the emphasis on them. I mean, if the cards are what the cards are, and it's the interpretation is still left up to the person interpreting the cards. Okay, and because everything, the cards are fixed. The cards are fixed. Now, just because it comes out in a certain motion doesn't necessarily, it's still going to mean the interpretation of it. And also that is going to go back to the individual tarot person who actually, whether it be young or older, the skill set. And see what happens with the planetaries is it's like this, even the stories and so forth of Marduk, okay, or even how the moon got here and all that stuff and everything, and people. That's what people have to remember, a lot of the stories and everything, and then you compare them to today, okay. And I'll give you an example. So the stories and everything of that of uh, Kishar, okay. I think Kishar was actually Saturn, and that of Tiamat, and so forth, okay? The watery monster. Okay, so Tiamat and Marduk, okay, Marduk was the young buck. He's the young buck of Anu, of the young buck within Anu's tribe of the sun and so forth and everything. One of the sons from, I think it was Uti, I believe, can remember. Okay, so that is Marduk, or even that of Enlil. That's right, Enlil. And so Enlil or Marduk, he's a young buck, and the scepter came to him, or the scepter's on his way to him, and they're fighting just like the Cain and Abel story of even Enlil and Iki. The whole stories are just mirrored back and forth and everything. You know what I'm saying? Of even Zerah and that of Perez. Okay, the scarlet red. All right. And so what happens is we see that Marduk, and this is chapter 52, the evil is backwards for live. Okay? So his interpretation of the story might be even just wordplay that one may not grasp. And I do mean may. And when I say may, is because May is was even the establishment time of Israel. Okay, in 1948 was the month of May. Okay, May Day, all of that and everything, and May is really that simply of Yam, which is water. Which is water. So, and that right there is really the the four corners right now. The retrograde of what? Fire, water, earth, and air, in which we have to go ahead and contemplate during this time when everything is going. We've got four retrogrades. Four. Okay? And so even though it's four, and it's just it's four, those four corners, it's still going in a circular, and we still have to go ahead and build. We have to still pull out our square, measure, however you want to do it, measure it up. How I preferably do it like so. Why? Because I still want to make sure that I'm going to complete the circle. I'm going to complete the circle and everything. And so if I put it this way, it's not going to necessarily probably here. I can go ahead and I have a base here, and I'm going to have a side here and have a base here, and I can actually put something on the other side over here, you know, to wedge and keep the circle, you know, from rolling. And so that wedge is where the Jew comes in at. You see what I'm saying? It's where the Jew comes in. And so this is where Eugene kind of messed up on a lot of things when he said, I'm not a Jew, put an explanation point on it, because he doesn't understand that aspect of simple English, for one. It's simple English, but because people turn their nose up about the Star of Remphan, you know, and not examining it, this 144 points for what it, and even more, 720, it turns it, you can actually get that whole as the flower. You can get the whole flower out of that, out of the Star of Remphan, the flower of life. You can get it out of there. It depends on what many angles you're looking at it from. Okay? All these things are embedded. And it takes one to go ahead and just take some time to go ahead and see these things. And after we see it, we got to implement it again, like I was saying, building it. So on top of that right there is where I want to go ahead and then build my triangle again, And who's going to be the base? It's going to be the masculine and feminine on the base. And who's going to be the top? That's going to be what we birth. That's going to be what we birth. So that's the building of what this block, this time right here we're doing and everything during this time right now in the spiritual realm and the physical. Because a lot of those things that we were shown or taught, like say for instance, Taurus with a good Taurus that's not fucking stingy, okay? That puts in the fucking work. That's not. I got something on as we pop our collar. You know what I'm saying? Popping our collar and shit on different things. You know what I'm saying? This is what brings us down in elevation from elevating and everything, and a little bit as our ancestors, or as we have already projected we wanted to that we're going to do, even at this point in time right now. So all of this right here is relevant for everybody, and especially for me, okay? Because we're all of every sign that I've mentioned. We are all of these signs. So what happens again with that popping our collar? You know what I'm saying? We have so much damn music to go ahead and pop our collar, to where the superior man of modesty and merit does not boast of his efforts, nor does he count his merits a virtue. For she is a woman or man of great parts. And again, this is, and listen to the numbers, and this is even dealing with the hexagrams again, okay? 9 in the third place. The arrogant dragon will have cause to repent. He who is noble has no corresponding position. Meaning, no, for one, All right, No is, and that's Egypt for one. No, okay, and there's the priest of On in Egypt at the same time, right? And this is Bel, which is Bel and the dragon. All right, and this is El also. Okay, and this is Le. Okay, so he who is all of those things I just got finished mentioning right now has no corresponding position. Now, in a general sense, in our world today, this is what one would get the Nobel Peace Prize for. Okay, for because they were not arrogant. They showed different merits and virtues and so forth that wasn't just of an earthly stature or to the earthly realm or even the lizards or you know and it's not even to say that the lizard. I get them. I get them also. You know, this is a perfect fucking environment. This is a perfect environment, but it doesn't mean that you can hoard it. That's what it doesn't mean. All right, to cap things down by like I say, Capricorn, Aries, and Pisces, or Aquarius and Pisces to cap it down. All right, or either by to be a Pac-Man, a Pisces, Aries, and Capricorn, to be a Pac-Man. All right, to hold these down, because what happens, and we've seen this time after time with the different failures, and okay, so we see that. I'm going back to the start to that of Marduk and everything of cutting how we even got here by those by the from what is told to us anyway. And then let's go ahead and say what is told to us. So Tiamat is cracked in half and becomes the earth. Okay, what we hear, earth, Urth, earth. Okay, all of this earth. This is simply where everything was at. Okay, and this was Lot chosen this Lot to be called. But they went ahead and changed the whole thing over to earth. All right, and so within that right there, what happens is Marduk, Tiamat, and then they said the other portion of the belt is the asteroid belt. Okay, and the moon. Remember, there was not a moon, so the moon is the actual satellite. It really is, and we already know this. And so, regardless, that moon within you and within, see, every single thing is a reflection on the inside out. Everything is a reflection on the inside out. That intuitiveness, even to, illuminate the moon, it really gets us saying from the shadow of the sun and so forth. The sun this is what's spoken to us and so forth. But all of these things are within ourselves and everything. When we power down, then that's what happens on this side of the world. It's really like a sleep process. Okay, we're going to power this side down and power this side up. And so when when I was on the other side of the world over inside of Tanzania, even the clock itself, I saw a clock itself to where 12 o'clock was really at 6 o'clock. Okay? And 6 o'clock was really at 12 o'clock. Okay? So it's a matter of perspective. Everything is a matter of perspective. And when we come to see this and we see where our deficiencies are, going back to the salts, and so we're in need of even not just the salts and everything, but we're needed that even to go ahead and for even to the four square, okay? Because we're that first one, so that we need for other people we need to get 3 different other salts. And that's going to be the base. Now when we go born into the family, whether you have siblings or what have you not, that's another thing there. And we're going to hit in that story in just a second there too, because it's very important also, especially at this time, for just remembering. Okay, just remembering in the cognitive sense of our brain, which is not here, is really down here, our gut. You know, that's the mandatory gut brain first. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the thing that goes ahead and gives us that gut to go ahead and what speak on and use our throat chakra, you know, to keep the heart pumping. You know what I mean? To go ahead and even pump this brain here, okay, to open up our pineal gland. All right, so that gut health is important, and so when we go ahead and find those different people, because basically what we're doing right now is you want to go ahead and form your own 24-hour clock, okay, and it's not necessarily, you might be just a triangle, with three people. Okay, where you see your core, and then you see how the other person operates, and then they might have three other people. Then hey, you might have six people just off the bat. You have your star, you have your star flying right there. Then you go ahead and connect more, and connect to where all 12 helices are rolling. All 12 helices are rolling. That is the unity of the circle, which you don't necessarily have in the square. You do have arcs. Now the circle can go inside the square, but we don't necessarily want. If we're inside the square, then we're stuck. We can't go ahead and roll on. Do you see what I'm saying? They're building blocks for it, but not to be in the center of it. It is just a measuring, because even all the forms we're talking about, we only utilize those in order to get where we need to go, in order to make this right here, everything I'm talking about right here, in order to make all of this, even to the hex, even to the hex, in order to everything, every single thing. Okay, this is still coming with basic square right there, basic square. Every single thing we're talking about, everything we're talking about. So that 9 in the third place, and that 9 that 93 is, you really got to listen to it. It says, the arrogant dragon will have cause to repent. He who is noble, and we're going to just leave that word like it is, we broke it down, has no corresponding position. Meaning, hey, we flow into all those freaking parts. That's what's going on. We can flow into all those freaking parts. And said, and he who stands high has no following. Okay? And it's not so much of a following right now. What it is a following in the sense the way it's built up, the system is built up, even as far as the the channels that we have right now, with YouTube, it's all about, especially with this thing here, following and so forth, because we reduced it down to there. But at the same time, it's a good thing because we can connect. Again, if I had met each and every single one of you, then I wouldn't have gotten the reflection that I needed. Okay? To go, and me dropping the I, what me needed to know myself. Because there's no way that I can know thyself, you. And most of the time, inside of my life that I've gone and everything, this is my I my I mine my I, and then they pick up ein as a stone, Stein in Deutsch, in German, and they'll pick up a rock and throw it at your motherfucking ass. This is mine. Babies and stuff. And then you got other babies that say, hey, you can have this, Hey, you can have this. It's different. So when you see the different one, and now we see them when we're growing up. And so a lot of these things, again, are not necessarily ourselves too, but they're given, passed down by genes if we are in the families that we did come from. And we don't even like it, but yet we end up being like it, and then we go ahead to love it, to even protect it sometimes. And it's not our nature. Now, for a lot of people, because now that when I was stating, I was going to go back over to uh, what's his name? I was going to go back over to India again, or the story again of Krishna. Did I start off with Krishna, India? For some reason, I don't know if I did, but I wanted to go there anyway. The reason why I want to go there and everything, because we're talking about family, okay? And Kuan Yin, she brought it up the other day, and or today, I believe, today or either a video I saw inside of hers, and I love the story and everything too, because it's so real, and it's a story of Krishna and Arjuna, you know, and a lot of the things Arjuna was devotee of Krishna, and he did everything, and he's from a warrior. He's a veer. He was a veer, okay, of India, of Sanskrit. Veer, which me mama gave me the name, but it's spelled Vere, and then the veer came in, and I've shared with that a lot of time. We all had different names and everything, and we, like I said, take them on ourselves, and we wonder why people give them to us. And so all of the things, I've shared, like I say, name is in Sanskrit. My name is in Latin. My name is in Hebrew. All of the different things, but the story right there with Veer applying to there of Arjuna, meaning a warrior, a fucking warrior for the Most High. Okay, for us. Okay, and what happens is he goes ahead, and Kirshner tells him to go ahead, see those people over there. He says, so he looks, he says, gets an eye on him. He says, yeah, that's my teacher. Man, that's my teacher. And he says, hey, whoa, that's my sister and my uncle and my mother. Oh, wow. And he's looking at everything because he hadn't, he's looking, he said, how did you, there's so many different thoughts going on. And so Kirshner told him to go ahead and kill him. And he said, he didn't do it. He said, well, he broke down. He took off and couldn't do it. He didn't do it for a long time. And he's it's sort of like, Kirshner means Christ. All right. And whether one believes in Christ or Jesus, or however everybody believes, that's up to them. The thing of what we want to do is extract, okay, because there's many different trees, and Jesus has been painted with black, white, purple, green, many different, we're extracting. It doesn't necessarily matter. It does matter, but it doesn't matter if we extract what we're to extract from it, and utilize it though. It's not just to be a collective, okay? Not to be a collective to just go inside of your pocket and you don't share. But because the world is the way it is, that's the yin and yang. We have that of the or agreeable and disagreeable. Yang, which is that of, in a sense of positive energy, a giving nature. We'll say it in that way. I'm not going to use that word, or like the word positive, because the breakdown of it is, but a plus, an addition. Okay, And I don't mean to the 144 either of the addition, because it goes past the 144. It's way past the 144. And also that of the negative. Okay, the yin and so forth. So what he does and everything, he is, we've got to extract these things. Like I was only saying that to, whether whoever believes this or that, or through whatever, we're just talking about extracting the the lessons, the juice, out of the coconut, man. You know what I mean, man? The coconut or the mango juice, you know what I mean? We just want the fucking juice, And so basically what he goes ahead and does, he doesn't go ahead and kill him right away. He goes, it takes him a while to come back. And he says, have I ever told you wrong? And he Krishna said, no. Arjuna said, no, I never told me wrong. You know what I'm saying? But this is all mental thought, wasn't even spoken, And so basically, he does go ahead and kill him. And so he says, basically, thank you. He's, why? Why? Because you stopped. I might be paraphrasing this. I said, they were needed in the next realm. All of them were needed in the next realm. Because you did not go and kill them. Okay? They had troubles coming into the next realm. All right? And so that goes back to Ecclesiastes 3:3. There's a time to kill, and there's a time to make alive, to come alive again. There's a time for all things. And I'm saying that story right there to go back to 3:3 again, okay? This is the master, master 22, master builder, and then you got your master mason. But, even a master mason, to where, I'm tripping right now. Mary Jo, soulful, I can't remember soulful. I say soul revolution. That's the reason I say soul co. Revolution, soulful revolution, because co is revolution. Because we are trying to make a revolution. In a sense like that. Okay, in a sense like that. But at the same time, we have to remember, and this is where I'm going back to. Look at now. We get some ancient stuff. Now look at what happened to today. Now, if we look at Prince in the Revolution, what happened there? Prince in the Revolution, everybody hated to work with Prince. They made their music, but it was a fucking flop. They broke up. And even though we break up from things in order to become something new, that could have, without a lot of the, whether it be, and as I have to go ahead and say, baby, and those are things that Prince didn't work on because he was probably in the front light and things was coming, and where we got it from. A lot of the things, a lot of things comes from where we got it from. Okay, where we got the talents from, and like Mike and Prince was writing and said, "Oh man, I gotta hurry up." Prince was going to do this, and they had a little battle going on. It was, and so I'm using that as one example of the revolution. Okay, and then when we look at number 36, Ali. And then when we said Muhammad Ali, see, Mu is something within itself, but Muhammad, okay? And Hamid is where you get the word, if you're reading it backwards, it's Dam, okay? Dam is blood, Muhammad. And we see Ham inside of there also too, okay? Ali. And when he was saying, I'm the greatest, he didn't go fight that war over there, the Vietnam War, which was, I wouldn't have fought it either. I'm not going to lie to you. I wouldn't have fought it either. But getting inside the groom when we pop in our collars, feeling ourselves to where I'm the greatest and everything. And then what happens is, We see him in the Parkinson's, and I'm not banging on it. I'm just saying we see him in the Parkinson's. I see Eugene. I see a lot of people, in that same Parkinson state mentality, where, because they were just doing too fucking much, doing too much. And with the brilliance that what we have learned from these, and they were called the greatest. He's the greatest. Eugene was just revered by his peers as the being Super Bowl. He, the Tarzan yell and all of that. And he has his own I Ching way of doing numbers and lines, and everybody, we have our right to go ahead and do that, to be who we are. But when we're deficient of salts in our body, that's what the physical happens. That physical, you see the body, it break. Oh my goodness, not good. It's just not good. And even the ethereal body, okay, meaning the soul body, the mind body that was he referred to as me, mama. That mind body, it is not healthy. It's not healthy at all. And so we have to remind ourselves that even the people that we choose to be the 4 people or 3 people are deficient salts. Okay, they're supposed to be the salt of the earth. They're not supposed to lose its salt. Then those are the ones, like honestly, the people that, and I think that everybody's mature enough to go ahead and grasp this right here. No matter what we've gone through right now, if I've, again, got at you, foul, calls you a liar, thief, this, whatever, a lot of the stuff we're coming out of cocoons. We're coming out of cocoons. Some of us are still going to be in moths material, okay? And others we're going to turn into butterflies, and we doesn't necessarily have to be a monarch butterfly either. Because the monarchs, again, are really what's running behind the scene, at the same time still breaking the whole scene down, breaking us all down still, okay? And those are the things that I'm talking about as far as change. Those are things that they don't necessarily want to change. And it's not to say that monarchs themselves are all bad, but even within every single monarch, if we do not cultivate and do change certain things before, well, as we're seeing right now, before after the change, the earth itself, or Tiamat itself, or Mama Kai right here, our daughter Kai is changing, then we'll be going under. We'll be going under. And although one can predict to certain degrees where different cracks might happen, and they may have shelters built, what have you not, we know that certain places are going to go under. We won't, it's just that process of time, you know what I'm saying? Okay, again, once every 72 years is a degree. It's 1 degree, okay? On that. So we've gone at 70. We've gone over. We've completed a 26,000 year cycle. Okay, 26,000 year cycle, and internally, as well as externally, the polar shift has started. So going back to Chiron, and everything right now, with the what was that theme on there today? And I've been into it too. The theme of bully, and how a young younger, and he used the analogy of a younger one. You can learn something from the younger ones too. Okay, everybody can learn from everybody. I totally agree with that. And that's what the problem was. What I was reaching up to saying to, and I'm a little bit older than you, to my elders. Everyone can learn something from everybody. But what's going to happen is this: we don't want that thing to skip. And what I mean by that, because the arrogancy of you might have, all of us might have taken something in from an elder, or even it was innate. It was our from what we came into this realm with. We knew what we had to do, and we just had to figure out how to wield it, to weld it. We had our sword, you know, our pen, okay, and a lot of the sword is really the pen. The pen is mightier than the sword. So, and that's why a lot of people are just copying right now. They're going to copy this right here and make some money off of it, and that's go. At the end of the day, it's like this. It's not about the money, the moonie. The moonie. It's not about the moonie. It is about the cultivation of knowing thyself, because regardless what's going to happen, whether you have AI, utilizing AI to copy paste over, or you're actually learning, it's it's going to create another Hitler. The little Hitlers that were utilized to go ahead and exterminate with new wedge people. Okay, the wedge really come from China. Okay, you gotta look at that. And who's behind China? And so in China, we see that melanated people have, you know, uh, the beginning for this era. Because even when you go back and everything, you see there was the white hair. We had four epochs before this. They said, let us replenish the earth. This is the genesis of Revelation. Let's replenish. So what was before then? Well, before then, the red-haired people ruled and everything. Before then, the white-bearded people ruled. Before then, the yellow people probably ruled and so forth. Okay, before and and we uh, again, whether it be by penmanship or the Octorians did before, or the Lyrians and so forth, all these things from the books of wars and so forth, and everybody's read into or haven't read into, or they only know. Uh, they can't remember, and what I mean by that is not just remember memory, but I'm talking about remember, meaning put things back together, do the actual what is called reverse engineering of even the stories in the languages of which it has been written out in, to see the roots of Ruth, that 11. So all of those type of stuff and everything. And what we're not trying to do, and I'm talking directly to Linda, because brilliant. I'm talking to Light, brilliant. I'm talking to, and Mary Jo knows what I'm talking about too. Uh, 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 what's her? I said Jehadina, you know, Chiron. He hasn't tapped in. Lynn definitely fucking know. you know, Lynn fucking know. Fucking Doc. Doc knows. You know, as she as he brought even in, showing you from the process like we're doing right now. I guess we did the same thing in a sort of sense, for to show so we grow together. The cat, the little kitty and everything. You see them grow together and everything for whatever point, so these are the same processes of life, or even the three, okay, that triangle, three of Ife, okay, of Ife or Ifa, and which have brought things together and separated them. And the separation again comes by that of greediness. Greed. Greed. Greed, the creed of greed. The creed and cultivation, and the root word of that is cult, of greed. And so it would behoove, and I would say behoove. And when I say hoove, I mean like a bee, you know? Bee pollinates, just goes and pollinates and everything, I'm saying? And hoove, like to hover, I'm saying? To behoove, it would behoove us to hover around these thought forms that we're sitting here talking about right now. And I'm not talking about them. What I'm doing is I'm giving you back what you have given me. I'm reflecting it right back to you, what you have reflected to me at 1:11 on the clock, and we're getting even 1:11:11. Fucking A. Got it. And I hadn't even looked at the clock now one time. 1:11:11 that was on that clock right there. So with that right there, I have what this, and I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway, because even though I've been, sort of like, zoned in and on the subject matters and stuff like that we talked about right now, I wanted to go ahead and throw some, I'm not really a, what do you call it, a comedian or nothing like that, but I do like funnies and shit, you know what I'm saying? Wake up and watch the funnies and everything. And so I was going back over, and I was going to start off with this first, but I'm glad I didn't do it that way. So a lot of the things, we have to, like during this time is going to be really rigid on a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? Like everybody's explaining right now. And we have to learn to let go is the message also. And so a lot of the times we have to look and even learn to laugh at ourselves. Even if somebody else is fucking like banging on us, okay? And it might fucking hurt. Okay? It hurt my fucking feelings, man. Okay? My mom, but, trust me right here, okay? Things that I'm getting ready to say about certain people right now have just made me laugh. And it's not bad because, I mean, it's been a plus for you, it's been working. And it's cool to see the good, bad, and even if you want to say ugly, okay? The good, bad, and ugly of, I'm saying Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood, actually work, and you see them flourish. To see them flourish. And as I had started out and everything, what I started out? I started out with we'll start again. We said, hello, my lovely ladies and beautiful gentlemen, okay? And Miss, and she cracked me up one time when I was watching her and everything. Because she was like, "Oh my god, yay!" And then she said, "That was pretty nasty right there. That's pretty bad. That's pretty terrible." She laughed at herself and everything. You know what I'm saying, Miss? Give them a taste of the test. Miss Alchemy Games. Alchemy, I'll call her Alchemy James. You know what I'm saying? Because James and games and everything. It's pretty much these James games. Pretty much what it is. You know what I'm saying? I wanted to go ahead. And because a lot of these, walking inside the tarot world and everything reminded me, honestly, of going to the red light districts and shit. Okay? A lot of the red light districts that I've been in, you get, because you see, look inside the window and everything is all set up and everything. And they really want you to come in, Like Tara was like walking in and, hey, come to my channel and everything. So you have some people sitting up in there and you can see all kinds of every damn thing, everything, right? They got the you know, tight shirts on, and even what's her name, Phoenix, had complimented. I don't know who she complimented on. She said, "Wow, you got a nice pair of boobs and everything." What I'm saying? So all of those things, you know, what people utilize their attributes. I'm not going to call them gifts because gifts is poison in German. Attributes. They utilize their attributes and everything for, hey, monetary gain, which is not bad. Which is not bad and everything. And where we do have others at the same time that might utilize more of their they might sapiosexuality again. I mean, that of the mental. The word is like, wow, okay, that shit. Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. you that type of everything. And so and then you have that of art. It's just an art form. Like even the girl, what's her name? She from SoCal and everything. I got to put her back up and everything because she was talking about. She came home from her. I forgot her name. She said already. Rebecca, I think. No, Rebecca is the one who put it up. But she's from SoCal. Anna. Her name is something Anna. And she did a song about my boobs, and told you the whole story. I put it up there and put it back up again. To where she was missing her boyfriend. And he was out of town, so she went over to his house and everything and opened up a poem and everything. Looking through some stuff and found a book of poems. And I don't know how it got, it was inside of the thing. I guess something to where the girl's boobs or something he wrote or she wrote, or it's her book of poems that was left over there. And I can't remember exactly. I have to go back and look at it. And so she wrote a song about my boobs and everything, because she got pissed off and everything because she wanted him to go ahead and love her boobs like I guess the boobs of that girl and everything. So it got into pretty deep. So I'm saying that as far as she played the bazooka and played the guitar at the same time, creating the song and everything. You know what I'm saying? So I'm saying that as far as art forms, art forms and everything. People utilize so many different things, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so within that, say for instance, even on your shows, your platforms that you have right now, to correlate that within your home group, you know, within your home group and everything, that's be for, the positive, not just a 501c, not just for a 501c or a business plan, nothing just like that, not just for one of those things, would actually be, because what happens is this, right now, this is being robbed, so to speak. But at the same time, I know what I'm doing as far as giving it away. I know what I'm doing. Okay? And because when you give it away, it multiplies, pressed down and beyond. It multiplies, pressed down and beyond, as I got a, she's Farquaad. She said, dang, she was thinking back, maybe I should have given sent sent $1 at least, you know, $1 at least, to some, I don't know who the hell it was, but some of those thoughts, thought forms. But and what it is though, it ends up being, you know, like a lot of the stuff is really like under a parent, you know, under a parent or a tutelage and so forth, to where you don't want to necessarily break that, or they have such a stronghold over you. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it might be your friends, it might be your all your friends. Oh, you like, oh, all that type of shit. it might be it might be all of that type of shit right there. So anyways, I guess the root of the truth of this right here is that I didn't get to finish laughing. So the other was Linda, because she cracked me up too. He goes, oh my hair, oh my, I don't, oh my. I mean, almost every, and then she says, I don't know what my mouth is saying. and, and like the mouth is running away. Don't get me wrong. I know things come out. But it's a lot of the times, like I said, whether it be old patterns or even something new that we want to even say and we can't remember, whether what the definition was, or even, all those things that, where the mouth messes up and everything, and even, like a lot of the girls and everything, and even guys may say, well, I guess I did see two. Matter of fact, it's a two-way street, because what's his name? Dang, Doc Savage and everything. Okay, Savage and everything too. Hey, I remember it was one time too. He says, "Oh, look at that hair. Oh, why is that hair? Don't stare down right there." See, and I took it wrong. Hey, everybody's different. Looking at the camera as himself and all that type of stuff, and it is what it is. Cute. It's not cute. It's especially when a lot of people might be in there to look at not necessarily your persona, but maybe what you are bringing. Maybe they want to go ahead and hook up with your, sapiosexually, in your mental state of different things. I mean, different mental states. What you do bring and everything, to where it's not necessarily the out, what we look like and so forth and everything. What's inside, and so that's what I think that everyone's looking at, really. The outer shell. Again, we can be the greatest, and you can. And the whole point of this too is, see, right now, to say that anybody won anything right now, this is just the beginning of the woes. So everybody, even on platforms, a lot of platforms may not even be there. And it's not so to say, and I don't wish that on the thing, what I'm saying? Because especially if things are changing, then, hey, things are changing. But we don't want our health to decline because popping a collar, because we got 200, 400,000, 600, 900,000 about to hit a mill. And I think he was like 913 is what I looked at the Minnowan's Pond. 913, 913, he about to hit his mill. He's kind of chill. Every once in a while, I see him pop his collar, or not necessarily pop his collar, but he feel himself, and because he's moving. We feel ourselves and everything. You know what I'm saying? And there's nothing wrong with that. I don't think nothing wrong with that. Whether you're agreeable or on a disagreeable side, I don't think there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, again, when we go ahead and we get woo-wee, our foundational fallen self, which we're building these towers up, okay? Uh, where I have, what did I say? Wrote it down here. Let me 1 second. Oh yeah, so the arrogant dragon, the arrogant dragon. That's what I was looking at, and the arrogant dragon will have. We don't want the arrogant dragon to have cause for failure, to have cause for it to be humbled. We don't want that, you know. And even inside of because the different stages and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Stage one, is really at the bottom. That's the base. So you have to have a strong base. So that's got to be you. So then you want to go ahead and have an officer, to go ahead and take, you know, uh, or a prince to go ahead and to be delegating if that's not yourself and everything. If and this is you might be the orator, okay, on the platform, but you're prince inside of there, to go ahead and be the official and everything. You know what I'm saying? Or double check your work. Okay, this is somebody double check. You know, and then you're gonna even have see. You might just have a lot of the logistics, and your mind might not be wired to go ahead on the deeper some of the deeper aspects. Not to say you can't do it, but to have that mentor and grasp it and be able to that you level up to, because there's always a level up, new levels, new devils. And so as soon as we level up, you're going to be fighting a demon devil to pop that collar. Trust me. And that shit. And like Denzel Washington said, hey, at the top of the slope, it is slippery. Okay, so you're going to have a minister. Okay, also, and then that's the 2-5 of the earth. Okay, the earth, the heaven luminaries is 30. Number is 30. And the 2-5 is that of the earth. Okay, the 2-5 is, so you have an official, and you that have a ruler of the 2-5 and everything, and that's the official rulers of the earth and so forth and everything. And earth, who's earth again? I'm straight talking to earth people. We're talking, who is that? Taurus, Scorpio. No, Taurus. I'm tripping right now. See, I got to get this right here. And I don't have all this memorized just read. I mean, I have it, but I keep fucking these right here. Blah, blah, blah. Taurus, Scorpio, and Virgo. Yeah, Taurus, Scorpio, and Virgo. And that's, I'm so glad I got there. It's Taurus, Scorpio, and Virgo. Because Taurus is that on the land. Taurus is that on the land. Moving, making some monies and everything, making things move and everything. And then Scorpio, that is water. That is water. So they're making things kind of stable on land and everything, stable, fixed water and everything, to where you can walk across the water, I guess, like Jesus is talking about. Yeah, we're talking about the water, or be fluid, become water, as Bruce Lee says. Become water. It's the form of the teapot. Pour in the teapot becomes the form of the teapot. So it's not necessarily fixed. It's not necessarily fixed in that way. You know what I'm saying? And then that to where we can go ahead and take that land, and this is where the alchemy comes out again. That land, we put it on one side of the scale, okay, of Virgo, all right, and we go ahead and take the water and put it in the other side of that scale of Virgo, all right, and that balance, and you are that. This is all of us. We are to balance that water, which we know it has to go ahead and be 70 to 80% within this body right here. And the earth, which will go ahead and put that inside the bone structures, bone, and what that earth that goes into us to make us healthy. So, because like my sister, she had two. I mean, when she got to the point to where, she was banging on a lot of things. I mean, you popping collars. I kid you not. Stroke one side of the face. Stroke another side of the face to where she had droopy cheeks. Then on top of that, I know she was putting that stuff inside of her fucking cheeks and her eyes. The collagen and stuff. The collagen, you know, or what do they call that stuff? Botox too. Botox. So all those things matter. All those things matter. You know, to go ahead and think about to balance, and you don't know again who you're gonna. This is the beginning. You guys are talking about banging and get down. Who gonna get it? I can't believe Kyron. God, see, that's why. And so, what happens even inside of those with these kingdoms and so forth? A lot of it's not given to them. That's the reason why Saul, the kingdom was taken away from Saul. He was only to be a king. He wasn't supposed to mess with that of the priest. He wasn't a priest. He wasn't that. He didn't know those things of both worlds. The Merlin world of magic. Using and see when we're saying magic, it's just not being able to do magic. Okay, it's not that. It's not it. You have the keys of Solomon, the greater keys and lesser keys of Solomon. See, Solomon. Okay, and we're even talking about Solomon, Roth. Okay, the Rothschilds. Okay, but even that in the allegoric form knows both the greater and lesser keys, in which you actually utilize both gin and which fluids, and that of yay, which is liquids. Okay, so fluids and liquids we can utilize it in that format, or that of evil spirits, because if we talk about jinn, now that's the Jin. Now let's talk about the Gin, the jinn, which are called spirits. Okay, utilize the evil spirits and that of the disagreeable spirits and agreeable spirits, or the positive spirits, or negative, however you want to put it, the yin yang on both sides, utilizing it both, and the person, the individual, the soul, the innate mind soul, fuck this body, that is able to go ahead and the middle path right there of the yin and yang, the middle path to be able to call. See, with the yin and yang, look at it. You have that of the whether it be black, white, or purple, whatever format you're using, and then you have that of the inside of it also. Okay, so you have your middle path, you know, and just put it in a scale. A Virgo again. You are the scale. You stick out your arms. You have that of, and you put your arms like you have that side on the right hand side, and you have that on the inside. Okay? Then you have it on the left hand side. Same thing. And you have that on the inside. So that's the fifth dimension right there. That's 5 parts right there. That one is actually in fully control when we are in the middle path. And so you can go ahead again. Someone can shoot some shit at you, and you can save that. You don't have to go ahead. You can save that energy. Okay, you can save it. You know? Or you get to the neo stage and it stops. Okay, you can just stop the bullet. Okay? You can do all of that because who's behind you? The book Elisha told you. He said, "Open their eyes, open their eyes, Father, that they can see." You know, I forget who was talking to. I think it was Neiman. I can't remember who he was talking to. But he said, "Open their eyes so they can see who's behind you." You see who's behind me? There's who's behind me right there. And you know, we don't know how far those roots grow, do we? We might see this right here, huh? We don't know that. You see what I'm saying? We don't know that. And so those are the things that I'm sitting up here saying. Don't don't do that to yourself as far as pop your collar because I kid you not. I mean, I went into this. I'll give you one story and I'm gonna get on out of here. I had, again got out of jail. I got out of prison. You know, who had put me in there and they just wanted me to give me the number and everything. And I started working at believe it or not, at a fucking at an Officious restaurant. Okay, Officious, IHOP. Okay, okay, IHOP restaurant. You know, or the Hopi restaurant. You know what I'm saying? And he was a cook. He was the head cook, Pismo Beach. No, this was actually at Royal Grande. I worked at them both actually. And he goes ahead and states, I mean, he's doing something about, in fact, it was something about God, actually. Because I usually talked about God a lot, you know, in a general sense, not really pushing on anybody. I said, you know, and he said something bad. He said something like, almost to the degree of fuck God, okay? You know, and that is generator, operator, and destroyer. And that essence right there, not in this man-made essence at all, because what had happened, it came through a man, but it came from who was behind me. Okay. And what had happened was I came in and I was just going to be a regular line cook. I came in the next morning and the lady said, "Would you like to be the head cook?" You know, and I'll got the payment that I was going to give you. I'm going to go ahead and bump that up and everything, and gave me the job right there on the spot. You know what I'm saying? And then they had me running two uh, IHOPs. You know, one in Pismo Beach and one as far as line cook. You know, I wasn't manager at that time, but running both of them and everything. You know, and anyway, that's just a short story. So that's what I'm saying. Be careful, you know, because everyone has come up right now. Every single one of you has come up on what they call them, likes and followers. You know, the following number 11 and everything. Yeah, the following and everything. The following, I guess you know, doing a good job according to their rules and regulations in which whatever creed you have gone ahead and partaking into. But regardless, there are some things that you can go ahead and put yourself in a middle line position, and you do not let yourself be moved from the middle line position on, no matter what your uh, people may prescribe you to actually do. And if it's actually part of the plan of the overall, not the contract you signed down here with them or nothing like that, or the company you work for, or with their, you know, but with the contract that you signed beforehand, then you will not have to come off that middle line, and you will be, but you still have to go ahead and learn, keep going with the changes, chances, and choices, whether it be what we're sitting up here talking about, you know, even these book of changes right now, the squares, standing on, knowing when to stand on your square, and knowing when to square the fuck up. Okay, knowing when to square the fuck up, because everything is not going to be, you know, regardless. Everything is not going to. That's not fucking. We know that. That's not how shit get down. Shit go down. Those are them. Shit rolls downhill, but you don't have to take a lot of shit. Tell you that. That's what you don't have to do. You know. And even though you may go down, you know, what goes down, trust me. I mean, though what goes up, trust me, comes back down. All right. So this is what I would suggest you to do. Contemplate those things, Quan, contemplate those things and move accordingly. And don't think that you, whatever victories or whatever think you have something right now, trust me, you might want to go ahead and keep on building, because people don't get gray hairs for a lot of shit, for nothing. Okay? A lot of people, you know, and it depends on the color of the gray hair. Okay? It depends on the color of the gray hair. A lot of people get shocked. A lot of people, you know, it depends on different things, all kinds of different things. And just because a person has gray hair does not mean that they're fucking, hey, wise either. There's a lot of youngsters that do, that are. I'm talking about. Like I said, when I was over in Tanzania, or Tanzania, however you want to, you know, Tanzania, the youngster, and he was 8 years old. His notes was my fucking notes. His notes was my notes, and his daddy didn't know what the fuck we was talking about. And even though he knew to certain degrees, you know, because he did some Spanish and he knew certain degrees and everything, you know, but all of their stuff, you know, honestly, you can ask, you can ask. Now, okay, that was just two people. So if I just told a corporation that came out number one on the fucking stock market, that their whole setup was fucking elementary. This is Asonics. Okay? Asonics. Number fucking one. And they had the smallest sacroneurological, uh, it's for the inconsonants for women, sacroneurological modulation, SNL. They had the smallest one on the market. Now, if I told you that, when I told them that their fucking structure was fucking elementary, what do you think these fucking two Bambi was talking about? But when I said that his son was going to be their teacher, I'll stop right there. I'll stop right there. You know, so if you're younger and you have what you have, don't disrespect. Don't disrespect, because as you could ask, you can ask people along my way, the people that have fucked me off, or talk, I mean, that talk all kinds. My answers don't fuck around. Mine, and they have taught me not to either. They have taught me not to either. All right. We just go ahead and be cordial the way that we do. Even again, like the youngster, he was 25 years in fucking jail, 25 years in prison. He comes around to me and fucking says, "Hey, bro, you know, he had to go do work." He said, "Bro," I said, "Man, you don't have to tell you. Look, bro, you are your." I respected him for doing 25 fucking years. And I only had the 13, whether I was older than him or not. So it doesn't matter what role, where you at, what office. If Elon Musk said, yeah, he getting the fuck about this one right here, trust me, the time will come. Okay? The time will come. To where some recanting and of attitudes, altitudes, fucking uh, thought forms, to where one wants to go ahead and say this, do that, be that, uh, you know, do what you do. Basically, do what you do for those who do what they do in that vein that I'm talking about. All right. So just chill, tiptoe through the tulips, stop and smell some along the way. Shoot $1 or two to different people, you know what I'm saying, along the way. Bums, buy them something, you know. Even those who, don't just give presents to people who have presents just to give presents, you know what I'm saying? Because it's just a thing to do, you know what I'm saying? Get out here and I'm not saying make a difference, because a difference is a subtraction. Okay, be the uh, be the umph in somebody's life. You know what I'm saying? In somebody's life, be that the one who shoots him out into space and everything. Like shoots him ahead of you, shoots him or her ahead of you. Be that one, because there are going to be times. Check it out. Confirmation. There are going to be times when the tide turns. All right, the tide turns. That's what's going to happen. And who knows? You may be on the street needing some Campbell's chicken noodle soup or vegetarian. You know what I mean? Who knows? All right. You guys take care. Be fruitful and multiply. And yeah, keep loving me, and I'll keep loving you. All right. Ciao, ciao.